Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. As you may or may not know, this is my first video ever, so please bear with me here with my awkwardness, I don't know if I'll be able to edit it out, but any I don't know, silences or where I don't really know what to say. But without rambling on too much, a little bit about me. My name is Lily, hence why I named the channel Lily of the Valley. I'm currently 26 years old. I am a dental student. I'm actually my last year, so Lord willing, I will graduate next year. I am a newlywed. I got married in May of this year, so I don't know, we'll see how things go, but if you guys want, or if I guess he's okay with it, my husband, my hubby can appear one of these days as well, but for now, just be me. So I guess I'll go into a little bit about why I started this channel. It's actually been something that's on my heart, a feeling I got from God a couple months ago. I think it was, I just had this desire to connect with more Christians. I do go to a church. I do have a church home, and I have some dear brothers and sisters, either who I'm connected to or who are in the city or the church I go to. But I've increasingly had this desire to branch out and meet more Christians. That's one side of it, and the other side is that I have been watching a lot of Christian YouTubers and influencers, and I've been incredibly blessed by their videos, whether it's Bible studies or just Q&As or testimony sharing, encouragements. It's just all been a huge blessing to me, and I guess this is my way of paying it forward. And also, I find that when I encourage others, I am encouraged myself, and I've gone through my fair share of, I guess, experiences where my faith in Jesus Christ has helped me overcome challenges I didn't think I would be able to overcome, or I know that I wouldn't have been able to do on my own strength. And so I want to use those experiences to hopefully encourage people who are going through their own struggles or similar struggles, because at the end of the day, Jesus is our hope. He is our Savior. He is our everything, as Christians and followers of Jesus. Now, caveat, I make it very known I am a Christian, and this channel I will be focusing mainly, at least that was the initial reason why I made this channel, was for a platform to meet other Christians and believers, and hopefully encourage other people through my testimonies and the videos I put out. But I also understand that since YouTube is, for the public, people of whatever faith, religion, or atheists or agnostics may chance upon my videos. And you guys are welcome. I would be very happy, elated if my videos can encourage you guys in some way, because I do talk about, I will touch upon mental health, suicidal ideations, and I don't want it to just be limited to Christians, because my heart is for everyone out there who's struggling with the things that I have struggled with. But I will say that this is not an Christian apologetics channel. At least that's not my intention right now, where I try to convince you why, you should believe in Christianity, or Christianity is the only right way. I have my own beliefs about that, but I just feel that that's not where my kind of leading is, you'd say, from God. Like, I'm not trying to belittle anybody regardless of their spiritual religious beliefs. My hope and goal is just to share how my faith in Jesus has tremendously impacted my life for good, and how my life has changed so much for the better because since meeting Jesus and inviting him into my life and allowing him to make these changes within me. And so that's kind of my burden. So, of course, if any of you do have questions about my faith, I am more than happy to answer it, but I'm not, trained in Christian apologetics or any of that. So I just feel like that's not my purpose, and hopefully my content can touch people even if they aren't Christian. But I will be very upfront that I am a Christian, and the content that I share will most of the time come directly from my faith in Jesus Christ. All right, so moving on to the next segment now that I've had this introduction, short introduction about me and also this channel. I wanted to start off by sharing my testimony because that's honestly where it all begins, which by where I mean my life with God, my life with Christ. Because up until then, I didn't have a relationship with God. So that the testimony of my salvation story would be like the starting point. A little bit about my spiritual background growing up, and the home that I grew up with. I would say I had a very nice, sheltered childhood. My parents are immigrants from China, so they worked really, really, really hard to not only immigrate here to America, but also just get settled, basically start from nothing, as a lot of immigrants do. And so from a young age, they instilled in me the importance of working hard, and just, having a great work ethic. And they modeled it very well. And so I'm very, very thankful to them for, showing me that, it doesn't matter where you begin, you start from. If you apply yourself, have discipline and determination, and through hard work, you can achieve a lot in life. I wouldn't say you can have a very successful life. But one thing, as I guess I kind of am alluding to, is they 100% are very self-sufficient. So neither of them are religious. My dad actually used to be very strong, hardcore atheist. I think it's better now. I've been reading the Bible with him, and it's kind of, I think, softened his stance about, there's no way there's a God in the world. So my mom, she grew up in like a Buddhist household, so she has kind of like the Buddhist influence in her life. I think it's just more of the culture she was raised in. So there you go. Like, I grew up in a household where I saw the importance of self-sufficiency and hard work modeled through me, and there was no mention of God. It was very much a self-reliant kind of mentality that I had. With that said, a lot of that kind of mentality towards achievement was geared towards education. So I went to a pretty prestigious high school that was merit-based, so I had to going to that institution, like in high school, only reinforced, I guess, the importance of education in my life even more, and I was surrounded by very, very intelligent people. The high school that I went to, it ultimately left me feeling like this false sense of superiority, okay? And like the high school would always, like the faculty or the administration would kind of just like, not even shove that down our throats. They would just like basically almost like constantly remind us that, hey, you guys are like the best and brightest. Like you guys, you know, got into this competitive program. So there you have it. Like that was how I felt going into college. And at this time starting college, I was pre-dental and I majored in biomedical engineering. So I'm gonna be honest, like that was not an easy duo to juggle. But, here I was thinking I graduated from this merit-based competitive high school. Like I'll do fine. Well, that was evidently not the case. I was in for a rude awakening because college was not easy. My engineering classes kicked my butt. I was trying hard to keep a good GPA, and thank God I did. But it was very, very stressful. And, it was also around this time that I started making friends with some Christians, and they were inviting me to Bible study, to church. I liked hanging out with them because, I just felt like they were cool people to hang out with. They were friendly, they were welcoming. Some of them were my classmates, and I did actually go to a Bible study and church a few times. Like maybe I can only count like on one hand, but I still did. I think part of me went because I was curious, and another part of me went because I did see something in my friends that I wanted, and that was that I set that I wanted to perform well in my major and get into dental school. So anyways, I had these Christian friends who were, pretty socially active. They seemed quite happy, and I wanted that. But I just remember when I went to church, I didn't really feel, I think there was something in me, you could say my pride, that stopped me from wanting to go further and deeper, because some of the verses that people sing at church would be like, God, you are my everything, and without you, I'm nothing. Something like that. I'm sure there's like Christian songs now that like have those lyrics, but I was just like, no, like I am completely whole without God. Of course, it's great to have a faith, but I don't need God. He's just like a nice, person to have in my life, but I can go on without him. So my pride, my self-sufficiency, self-reliance that had been pounded into me since the day I was born and modeled by my parents, right? It just didn't like mesh with that in me. So fast forward to my sophomore year, and I am loaded up on the hardest classes, pre-regs. I'm in my biomedical engineering core classes. I did a summer research internship at another university. I did this program, and I was still involved in that research even though, the summer was over. And it was just a crazy, crazy semester. And so I had this opportunity, wonderful, wonderful, amazing opportunity to actually go down to Florida and present my research. that I had done the project that I was working on all summer, and it would have looked amazing on my resume. It was all expense paid by the program. My professor who helped me with that project was highly encouraging me to do it. And I thought, I was on the fence at first because that semester was the one of the craziest semesters for me, but I just decided, all right, why not? Like, it's not once in a lifetime opportunity. Let me just go for it. Well, as it turned out, as fate, or now I know God would have it, basically the week that I would have come back from, it was like a 4 or 5 day conference. I had 3 midterms in one day, like the same day, which already, like, on by itself is very stressful, but it was, and on top of that, I was preparing to go to this conference, and so I'd be gone for like a week. And so all of that piled on top of each other was too much. I was already pretty stressed out from just school alone, and then with this project, I ended up having a mental breakdown. I don't know, like mental nervous breakdown. I don't want to misuse the term, but basically, I ended up having insomnia and panic attacks every single day because I just couldn't handle the stress of everything. And what ultimately happened is I didn't go to the conference thinking that that would somehow make it all go away and make everything back to normal. But it actually ended up backfiring because when I told my PI, so she's like kind of the person to the research with, and my parents, my PI for one was very disappointed in me, and so was my mom. So I would say that hurt even more because I felt like I let them down and that I just was a failure. And that was when, things went even more downhill for me. On top of the insomnia and panic attacks that I thought would go away, I was feeling very depressed. It's honestly, looking back, it's so hard for me to pinpoint an exact cause of it. I think it's something that I've always struggled with, which is putting my worth in my achievements, putting my identity in things like GPA and how people perceive me. And it was like the perfect storm, like everything blew up in my face, and I didn't know how to go on from there. I told my parents that I was very, very depressed, and I think I told them that I thought about harming myself. And so I was out of state at the time. The college I went to was 2 states away from where my parents live, and my dad was like, all right, bless his heart, that same day he's like, you're coming home, like, it's not safe for you to be there by yourself. I mean, I had a roommate and friends and everything, but like my parents were worried about me. So he drove like 12 hours in one day, my dad, to pick me up. And bless his heart again, like, love him so much, but it honestly made me felt to my dad having to do all that for me, and it made me feel even worse about myself. And that was when the suicidal ideations basically continued, and it became almost a constant thought in my life because, for one, I didn't know if I could graduate college because I was not being able to sleep meant that I was exhausted. Like, it felt like I was carrying a 200-pound weight on my shoulders all the time. Like, I had headaches. Like, you just can't, you're just not, you're functioning at your best self when you're not sleeping at night. And so my grades suffered. Like, that was like the first time I like bombed my midterms, and I'm pretty sure I bombed all 3 midterms. So the thought of possibly not graduating college meant that my dreams were shattered of becoming a dentist. I felt like I was just inconveniencing everyone around me, my dad, I failed my PI. The fact that I was super depressed, I felt like was also like affecting the people around me closest. It's not like they made me feel bad for being depressed, but I felt bad that my depression was affecting them. Like that they couldn't just be around like a happy friend. And I know like, so this is something where, I think awareness about mental health and mental disorder and how to even be around someone who is suffering from mental health issues, that there should be more awareness about it. I'm not trained in this, but I just feel like it's okay that they're feeling depressed and not 100%. And I'm not trying to say like my friends didn't like make me feel like it wasn't okay, but I think for myself, like I just needed constant reassurance, constant affirmation. And I'm sure for them, like that was tiring to a certain point, to see me in such a vulnerable and weak state. So yeah, I basically was struggling with suicidal thoughts. I never actually, um, thank God, like tried to take my own life, but it was something I thought about, especially at night when laying there and I couldn't sleep because I had all of these voices in my head telling me that the world is better off without you. Um, so yeah, that's definitely not something that I would want anyone. I wouldn't want my worst enemy to go through because it was just such a painful and dark time in my life. Time my parents took me to a counselor. I took sleeping pills, from a doctor, and to help me with the insomnia, anxiety. I tried like relaxation techniques. I did yoga like every day. And while I would say, going to a counselor definitely helped, like when I was talking to her, all of that was still temporary relief because deep down at the core, I felt so empty inside because I didn't know who I was if I wasn't a university student trying to get into dental school. That was my everything. My achievements, my grades, that was where I found my worth, my identity in. And I would say that's a very precarious and dangerous place to be, for any person. If you put your entire worth and identity in a relationship, in a job, in, even your appearance, all of those things are going to go away or they can fail. You can lose your job. You can, that relationship might end. And then what do you have left with? And for me, I had nothing left within me. I had no love. I had no hope, no confidence. And so is that was my rock bottom, right? So I hit rock bottom. I was at the end of my rope, and around this time, I had some people in my life who were Christians, and they told me that they were praying for me. And I said, thank you. But the fact that they said they were praying for me, I thought, why don't I pray? What do I have to lose at this point? All my self-reliance, self-sufficiency, pride was gone at this point. I had nothing to lose. I was just a shell of a person. So I remember lying in bed one night, couldn't sleep as usual, and I just cried out to God or whoever was up there. I said, God, if you are real, if you care about me, can you please help me? Can you please save me? I don't know what else to do from here. I'm just barely hanging on at this point to life itself. And in that moment, I felt this warm blanket. I mean, yeah, I was lying in bed, so maybe it was my blanket. It was actually my blanket, but this sensation of peace and love that I had never felt in my life. And I knew that it didn't come from me at that time because I had no peace and no love within me. It had to come from an external source. And I just heard this voice. I mean, you could say I saw this figure, but honestly, like, my memory isn't that clear about that. I just remember hearing these words, though, and that was, Lily, I don't care about your grades. I don't care about your achievements or whether you graduate university. I just care about you, and I want you to come to me just the way you are, just as you are. And that was all I needed to hear for me to feel hope again, to feel like I had worth, that I was loved. Because up until this point, all the love that I felt like I had, even though, plus my parents they did their best, felt conditional. Like, people will love me if I do stuff, if I achieve, if I'm a good person, if I'm a good friend, it felt like it was based on the things I did, and rather than just who I was, that I could be loved unconditionally. That was a totally new concept to me. And the peace I felt was also, it was peace, in the Bible it says peace that surpasses all understanding. And that was a peace I felt because it didn't make sense, in that moment. But it was peace nonetheless. And I realized that in this world, there is a God who loves me and wants to have a relationship with me. And that was the door. It was like a door was open. There's light coming in. And I just thought, I want to know, God, if that was you, I want to know you. I want to taste more of this peace and love that I had gotten a glimpse of. I want more of it because I was just, my world was pitch dark, and that was the hope, that was the light. The rest honestly is history, but of course so much has happened. So that was 6 years ago. So these past 6 years have been crazy, but also amazing. Experiences I've had are just testaments to God's goodness and how He's changed my life. And I guess the rest of the story and what ensues, and also what God is continuing to do in my life, that's what the rest of the future videos that I will hopefully post, will be about. But that is just my testimony. So thank you all so much for being here. And if you watched all the way to the end of the video, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are amazing, and I hope that I can get connected to more Christians, or just people who have similar experiences or are struggling, going through their own mental health struggles, because that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I want you all to know, no matter what season of life you are in, or even if your feelings tell you otherwise, that the truth of the matter is that you are so incredibly, unconditionally loved by someone. And all right, I'm going to stop rambling, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.